Tim Onlu goes over a tenth of a second fast.
Good evening everyone and welcome to Formula Trout League. We are at Brazil today. This is the Challenger Split, round 11 of 12, the penultimate round of the season. The Drivers' Championship is already decided with Darian Chikloven, our Drivers' Champion, but still up for grabs is the Constructors' Championship, currently following Dmitry Kamashov, who's driving for Griffin Red, the current leaders of the Constructors, and in second, Darian Chikloven, our Champions team, which is Young GP Junior, sorry. An outsider chance as well, just to mention, is Cyprian Stoian's team, which is the Golf Club, which is a very good team name. I do like it very much, but a bit more distant. But everything is up for grabs here at Brazil. I am Alex Cochran, joined by Case Wilhelms. Hello, Case.
Good evening.
So yeah, it's a interesting race we'll have on our hands today. Kamashov just sets provisional pole, but there's still 10 minutes left to go in qualifying. Columba Griffiths, another Griffin Red driver, and Ivan Ayuso in a P3. So it's Griffin 1, 2, 3 at the moment, but I'm sure Darian Chikloven will be right up there in the mix. Currently 6/10 off Kamashov, but he's going to get, I'm sure he's going to be fighting for pole position by the end of the session as the track rubbers in, as more drivers set laps. And just coming around the track. I think he's on an in-lap, an out-lap, sorry, but I'm not 100% of that. Actually, I've kind of just jumped in the middle of a lap and I didn't quite pay attention to where he was. Yes, definitely on an out-lap because he's weaving all over the place as he just gets to the final corner. It's definitely good to be back at Brazil. It's been quite interestingly, as Ivan sets pole now, sets provisional pole. Quite interestingly, Brazil has traditionally, if not, actually apart from one I can think of, I'll mention that in a minute, has been the final round of the season in Formula Trout for pretty much every single season we've ever raced. It's a track that is very, very beloved by drivers. Everyone loves to drive it. It always produces fantastic racing, and unfortunately not here, but usually a very, very exciting championship battle at the end of it. Today, for the first time in a while, although like I said, I'll come back to it, this is not the final round of the season. It's the penultimate round of the season. The final round of the season this season is at Japan, at Suzuka Circuit, which is very, very unique for Formula Trout League. It's a very, another track which is beloved by drivers. Everyone loves Suzuka. Everyone loves Interlagos. So it's just switching it around a little bit for the sake of change. But the one that I've been mentioning, the one that didn't fit that trend, was I think it was season 6. I'm not sure if you were around then, Case.
No, I wasn't, unfortunately.
No, it was back when we had Max Hamling, one of our champions, racing with Paul Magzire. It was another one of our champions, and it was a super close championship battle all throughout the season. And unfortunately for Hamlink's sake, he was involved in a quite spectacular incident lap 1, and it was due to lag, unfortunately. I think it was his teammate, Oscar Williams, was just lagging all over the place on the starting grid, and as soon as the lights went out, he just pinged into his teammate and took him out of the race on lap 1 before even to the final corner, which was very disappointing. But then, so that would have handed the championship straight to Paul Magzire, but then by some crazy thing, a recent rule change had just been implemented that if you reversed in the pit lane, you would be disqualified from the race, and Paul Magzire was caught directly on stream at his first pit stop, missing the pit box, reversing down the pit lane, and having to be disqualified from the session. So this exciting championship battle was kind of turned into both the championship contenders being disqualified from the session. And by a vote to all the drivers and the team owners, they actually decided to put an extra round at the end of the season. I think it was a 13th round, and that was at Red Bull Ring. So the season 6 was the first time in many seasons that Interlagos had not been the final race. It was by quite some weird circumstances. By the end of that, Paul Magzire ended up champion. Hammerlink was not able to get in front of him in the race. All he needed to do was finish in front, I think, but Magzire was the one to take the championship that time around. Hammerlink's time would not come until a few seasons later when he returned to Formula Trout League in dominant fashion. I think that was we're not even in season 11. I think that was season 8. Hammerlink came back to win his first championship in Premier Series, and it was definitely in dominating fashion. Definitely a deserved champion, but as was Magzire. You know, great battles between those two. It's a shame not to have them, you know, racing so much anymore, but whenever they do make an appearance, they always put on a great show. Ooh, someone's just lost it down turn 3 there. I don't know who that was. It looked like one of the Trout cars. Ficini, yes. Yeah, Ficini just losing it there through that flat-out left-hander. We'll have to go on board, hopefully. One of the cars, hopefully one that's, you know, maybe Columba Griffiths or Darian Shkloven might be starting a lap soon. We'll be able to hop on board, but at the moment, Columba Griffiths is on provisional pole. Still Griffin 1, 2, 3. Shkloven just not able to get up there. Kamishov moves over. Ooh, it looks like he moves over to try let one of the golf cars through there, but ends up blocking them at the same time. Is Kamishov starting lap here? Ooh, big massive snap of oversteer, gets on the curb, cuts the grass on the inside there of the last real corner. Quite an unusual incident there, but he's getting back to the pits okay. A bit of a weird one, bit of an embarrassing one to catch on stream. Sorry for that, Dimitri, but he'll live to fight another day. He can set another lap. Still 5 minutes to go here in qualifying. Ivan Ayuso is now at the provisional poleman. 800ths in front of his teammates, so very close at the top. Darian Shkloven, meanwhile, I think is on a lap himself. Maybe not. Maybe he's on an out lap again. It's always hard to tell.
Yeah, no, I think he is currently on a lap.
He is on a lap, and he's a 10th up. Yeah.
Best sector 2 as well.
So he's coming down the start-finish straight. Just a few kinks here. Flat out easily in a modern Formula 1 car, Formula Alpha, which the VRC is, not Formula 1, but, you know, same difference. Was this enough for pole? Yes, it is. Provisional pole for Darian Shkloven, the championship winner last time out. Not the championship contender anymore. The champion. 108.056 for Shkloven. Ivan is 0.069 behind. Nice. Griffiths is 0.149. Always great to see these times. Super close. Columba is on an in-lap himself. By the looks of things, not pushing very hard. Kamishov, what can he do? He's down on his time. Oh, he's on an out-lap actually, so we will follow Kamishov. Doesn't make the same mistake he did last time. I think he was on an in-lap that time anyway, but we will follow Kamishov on his lap. Ride on board with him around this lap of Brazil. So comes into turn 1, comes into that Senna S as it is called, quite late on the brakes. Ooh, Kamishov locking the inside front there, but gets through okay. Doesn't cost him too much time. Easy flat through this long Curva de Sol turn 3. Little straight here, DRS open, and then into turn 4. Cut as much as you can, but stay away from the sausage. Go as wide as you can, but stay away from the sausage. Turn 5, easy flat. Then turn 6, turn 7. Not flat out anymore. It was a few seasons ago, amazingly, in some of the cars, but still very high speed. Challenging corner. Locks the brakes again into turn 8, turn 9. Keep it tight, but get on the power as soon as possible, but don't drift out wide. You don't want to touch that grass. Turn 10. Carry as much speed through it, and then through the flat out turn 11. It can be quite difficult to be flat through here depending on the conditions, but in qualifying, easy for these cars. The last real corner, turn 12, nice exit, doesn't spin the rears up again like he did on the lap before, and then flat out down the straight. The route of less resistance, the line of less resistance down that straight. You want to have it as fast as possible, and that is third for Kamishov, 108.134. So close between our top 4 now. Just just less than 2 tenths, less than 1.5 tenths between the top 4. Shklovin is on pole still. Kamishov in P3. Oh, and now Columba Griffiths actually goes on pole. Spoke too soon. Griffin Red, pole position at the moment. Shklovin is back out on track. He will be sure to try and have another attempt at beating it. Ivan Ayuso in P3 still. He's not on circuit yet, still in the pit lane, but I'm sure he'll be going out by the end of the session. Yeah, it's a good lap we got from Kamishov, but you know, just not enough to be able to get in front of Shklovin, be able to get in front of his teammates. There's a yellow flag there for Columba. It looks like he's lost it on his outlap through turn 4, I think that is. I don't know how that's happened. Seems to be going to be going okay, but that might be qualifying over. There's only 1 minute 30 left in the session. If he has too much damage, or if he's not able to get back to... Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get back in time, so that is probably qualifying over for Columba. He's on provisional pole at the moment, but will it be enough? Shklovin is about to start his final lap. 1 minute 15 left on the timer. He'll have enough time to get around this lap, maybe one more, but I doubt he's going to have enough charge in the battery, enough fuel in the car to be able to set another lap. So again, Shklovin into turn 1, into the center S, does not lock up as Kamishov did. Runs the exit but stays away from the sausage curb. It's a bit of a Formula Trout special, those sausage curbs. They're not on the base version of the track. We've added them ourselves just to make it a little more difficult, because people like to extend here, to say. We had a few drivers disqualified over that a few seasons ago about constant track extensions, but as you can see now, no way you can extend there now. You'll just hit the big sausage and they'll ping you into space. Shklovin, oh, a big wobble through for Shklovin through turn 6, turn 7 there, loses the rear of the car, mounts the sausage curb I was talking about. Tony Hawk grinds it along, and yeah, that will be his lap ruined. So unless he can get back to the pit, unless he can get back to the start-finish line in 20 seconds, I think that's qualifying over for Shklovin. He'll have to settle for P2, maybe even less. Ayuso is up on his time as well. He's in P3 at the moment. 2 tenths, and he loses the rear through turn 4, holds onto the car. That's going to have cost him quite a lot of time. Yellow flags out for Kamishov. Kamishov's session is over. Everyone's making mistakes at the last dying seconds here. Checkered flag is out. Shklovin is going for another lap. I don't think that's the end of the session. So Shklovin managed to get back to the pits just at the last minute, but will he be able to improve? He'd already pushed for half a lap when he made the mistake, and he might have damage from mounting that curb. It can damage your car here in Assetto Corsa. But Ayuso, he lost so much time, pushing so hard to try and get it up, overdriving the car a little bit. He's 8 tenths down, weaving around in frustration. P3 is all he can manage, but can anyone else beat him? Peters is still on a lap, Ficini is still on a lap, Ignis Doxis is still on a lap, and Knowles is also still on track. Peters not pushing too hard, locks up. I think he's on an in-lap himself. Shklovin runs wide, just behind Peters, that is, but will he be able to improve? Does not look like it. 8 tenths down, so yeah, just not enough charge in the car, not enough fuel, maybe not enough tyres. Obviously these I think they're on C4s. Not able to push for those 2 laps. He'll probably now bails off into the pit lane, so that is qualifying over for Shklovin. Leslie Peters sets P6, 109.785. William Knowles, I think he's on an in-lap himself. So Columba Griffiths for Griffin Red. Pole position for the Griffin Red driver. Important for the Constructors' Championship. Shklovin, Younger GP Junior in P2. So that's, you know, what Christoph Berzer would want. He's obviously the team owner of Griffin Red. Ideal probably to have his driver on pole. Would have been nice to have a 1-2-3 for Griffin Red, but you can't have everything. Shklovin in P2, and his teammate, which is Carlos Skamanis, down in P7. So some work to do for the Younger GP team there. Yeah, we'll have to see what the tyre choice is like for the start of the race. Now, obviously, tyre choice is free here in Formula Trout. What will they go with? Columba Griffiths C3, Darren Shklovin C3. So it looks like the majority of the field is starting on those C3 tyres. I'll just run you through the top 10 because I did not do that. Columba Griffiths is in P1, pole position for Griffin Red driver. Shklovin in P2 for Younger GP. Ivan Ayuso, P3, P4, second row, all Griffin Red. Cyprian Stoian in P5, Peters in P6. On the 4th row, we have younger GP, Carlos Skamanis, and alongside the solo driver, Alessio Ficini. Ignace Doxies in P9, Knowles in P10. And unfortunately, that rounds out the grid we have today, because a few people, again, didn't attend when they were supposed to. But we have enough drivers to put on a great show for us here today. We'll try to find the correct driver. Kilgar told me about this. The starting positions aren't so good, so we'll just fix this.
Yeah, so in the meantime, actually, rather interestingly, maybe we kind of have a almost near similar scenario now to what we had the last race, but actually now we have it also at the start of the race compared to later on in the race. We only got 10 drivers on the grid right now, so everyone's got a chance for points. So I hope nobody DNS this race, so they can at least score a point. So let's see what happens then.
Yeah, definitely a good point. Every driver, there is points up to grab, so every driver should try and finish the race if they can. The lights coming on now. 5, 6 red lights here at Interlagos. And away they go, held for quite a long time there. It's quite a good start for Shkloven on the inside. Tries to go down the inside for turn 1, is not able to, and Kamishov down the inside there. Griffin 1, 2, 3, as we said, into turn 1. Shkloven dropping down the field there. Most drivers seem to get through okay. Coming down to turn 4, no pressure for Columba Griffiths, but further back, Cyprian Stoian there running very, very wide and off the track. Rejoins okay, lost a few positions. But further back, it looked like Skamanis made a mistake himself on lap 1 there. Further back, got onto the sausage curve that we spoke about, and just as his teammate did in qualifying, Tony hawked it a bit and ended up just losing a few positions there. Most of the field filtering through without any major drama. So Griffin Red 1, 2, 3 as we get near the end of the lap already. Shkloven in P4, so bit of a disaster start. He looked like he had a good initial getaway, and then Kamishov just sneaked up the inside, unsettled him for the turn 2 for the right-hander, and then that allowed Ayuso to just go round the outside basically, and then had the inside line for turn 2. So the ideal start for Griffin Red here. But, you know, the race is long, 47 laps we have, and where has the rest of the field gone? Top 3 drivers pulling away already, a 2-second gap there. The standings are a bit all over the place as Cyprian Stoian goes around the outside of someone. The standings are not working correctly, unfortunately. I think that's Ficini. Yes, that's Ficini in the solo driver car. So Stoian round the outside through the Curva de Sol and then manages to hold it around the outside of turn 4 as well. I'm just going to go try and fix the thing here. We will follow Shkloven. One moment.
Then in the meantime, oh, there we go.
There we go, back to normal. So yeah, already the top three Griffin Red cars have pulled a 2.5 second gap on the younger GP car, and these 3 guys at the front all racing. I'm sure there'll be no team orders here. Every driver wants to do the best as they can for their own results. To the inside, Ayuso looks on Columba, not able to do anything, but he'll be so close. May have even unsettled him and will allow his teammate Kamishov to go through. DRS not enabled. Oh, DRS is enabled yet. Sorry, we are on lap 3. So Griffiths, no DRS in the lead of the race. Kamishov and Ivan, that DRS just allowing them to get that little bit closer. Ooh, big snap of oversteer for Kamishov. Ivan was a little unsettled through there as well. Meanwhile, Griffiths can kind of just cruise around in front, clear track in front of him. He's no stranger to this, having won a race earlier this season. I believe he won Mugello, although I think he might have made a mistake and didn't win Mugello. Yes, that was Jackie Yates won Mugello actually. So if you could, maybe you know, Case, I'm not sure.
Sorry, say again?
I think Griffiths won a race this season, but I'm not sure which one it was. I thought it was Mugello, but I think that was Jackie Yates.
This season, no, for this season it was Columba Griffiths at Austria. Yeah, Austria.
Austria, yes. I believe that was the race where Kamishov was disqualified for using the wrong tyres. But
Yeah,
here
correct.
comes Ayuso on the outside now to turn 1. DRS is open in front before he even gets to the corner, and Columba has to yield, but then Ayuso makes a mistake himself, locks up, goes wide, and lets him straight back through. but it's not over yet. Ayuso will have the DRS yet again. Griffiths goes to the inside, defensive for turn 4. Ayuso on the outside yet again. Last of the late breakers. Ayuso round the outside. I think there was a little bit of contact there. Ooh, Ayuso loses the rear. I said no team orders. Definitely not. Almost 3 wide coming into turn 6. They get through okay, and amazingly, it's still Columba in the lead, Ayuso in P2 and Kamishov. But these 3 fighting, these 3 teammates, no team orders, has allowed Shkloven to get within a second. Shkloven, if he can keep this up, he might be fighting for the lead here.
Yeah, so what interesting, you said that maybe no team orders for today, but actually looking at the standings, I think the fight between Dmitry Kamishov and Cyprian Stoyan is currently the battle to go for. Cyprian Stoyan currently leading with 137 points over Dmitry Kamishov, then Columba Griffiths at 62 points. So it was up to me, I will put, lost my words, Kamishov ahead.
You say Kamishov ahead, but Ayuso goes down the inside this time for turn 1, manages to hold on. Columba has to slow down just to avoid, as the teammates get into each other. Griffiths got into contact with Kamishov through there. Shkloven past Griffiths. Right on the tail of Kamishov now. DRS is open for Kamishov, so should be safe. But yeah, you say there's no team orders. I said there was no team orders. The 2 teammates, Kamishov and Columba, coming into each other. Coming together out of turn 1. And that could have been a lot worse. But that has allowed Shkloven, the driver they are fighting in the Constructors' Championship, to get through into P3, into the podium places. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Stoyan. Stoyan is in P5 currently. We saw him run wide on that lap 1. He's best of the rest at the moment behind that front quadrant. Is that the right word? I think it's the right word. Yeah, you can see Ivan there after getting past teammate has a teammate Columba, and then him making a mistake himself with the contact with Kamishov. Too many teammates here. He's pulled a 1.3 second gap on Kamishov already. Meanwhile, Shkloven, DRS now on Kamishov, but Griffiths behind, DRS as well. Griffiths obviously got pole. He's definitely, as fast as the rest of them. He's fell down a little already, but that was just contact. A little mistake and getting unlucky with the DRS. Will he be close enough to have a look? No way. Yellow flags out for Peters. What has happened here? Looks like Leslie Peters has made a mistake at turn 1 as Ignis Doxys is in the wall there. I don't know if it was in avoidance or if he just made a separate incident, a separate mistake and separate incident there, but seems to be going around, getting back on track. Okay, the standings are a bit all over the place. Apparently Skamanis was in P2 briefly then, but that is definitely not the case. But up here, up in front, P3, P4, just 5/10 separate them here. So again, we'll have another dose of DRS as they get on the start-finish straight. Another helping to just allow them to close up to the car in front. But unfortunately for Columba here, Shkloven also has the DRS from P2, so will not be able to close. But then Kamishov, no DRS for him. Teammate Ayuso is now, 110.5, 110.5, 110.5. Top 3, the same lap times, pretty much. Shkloven sets the fastest lap with a 110.5 flat. But Griffiths behind 110.7, so he's just dropping back from the trio at the front. Hello Frogazoid, I'm not sure who you are, but I like the emoji very much. Actually, I probably do know who you are. But yeah, Ayuso managing the gap okay, just staying without the DRS, outside the DRS of his teammate there. Shkloven, meanwhile, is managing to keep within the DRS of Kamishov, and might be able to look for an overtake in the next lap or so if Kamishov cannot get the... Oh, as Ayuso locks the rears there into a turn 10, I think that is. Yes, that is turn 10. Locks the rears, does not lose too much time, but look at that. Kamishov just within a second. Will he get it down this straight, get a good exit, and he will get that little DRS reduction system. DRS reduction system? Rip in peace. He will get that drag reduction system. And yes, he does. So Kamishov now closing up to his teammate. 109.9 for Kamishov there. Very, very fast lap. Shkloven with a 1:10 flat. And then Griffiths with a 1:10.5 as well. So Kamishov just a little bit faster than Ivan that time around. Got the DRS. Oh, there's yellow flags for Columba. Columba has made a mistake and is out of the race at turn 1. I don't know if you were watching there, Case, but Columba fighting for the podium, fighting for P4. Spins round and in the wall, and he's out of the race by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a really strange incident. I think maybe in the center. I think it was at the exit of turn 3. He might have lost the rear. I don't think it was because of the run. No, it was before that. So yeah, that's definitely really strange. Maybe his engine already blew up because of that. It happens very rarely, but sometimes if you crash hard enough, if it's the rear or very rarely the front, your engine will blow up, and then that's game over for you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but such a shame to see. We had a 4-way fight for the lead there. Now it's just a 3-way fight for the lead. Such a shame, because it was shaping up to be great, but you know, it's not over yet. Kamishov is coming up to his teammate with DRS. Sorry. With DRS, sets another 10.2. Ivan 10.5, so teammate here going to be racing once again, but Shkloven lurking behind, waiting for his moment to strike, waiting to take the lead if these two come together, as he did with his teammate before.
Think maybe time to get his team orders.
Yeah, definitely. I said looked like there was no team orders. Definitely did look like there was no team orders after they came together, but now it would probably help if, you know, Ivan was told, if you are slower, let Kamishov through, because if Kamishov could drive away, get away from Shkloven, or the other way around, if Kamishov's happy to sit behind Ivan, he could maybe just try hold up Shkloven, keep him out of DRS of Ivan, allow him to pull away a little bit.
And they do have to continue to consider the championship potential they have here. Currently, as it stands, with Ivan in P1, as I've lost the screen.
Sorry.
Thank you. With Ivan in P1, Kamishov in P2, but with Cyprian in P4, the gap between Dimitri and Cyprian would only be 11 points, so that's definitely very tight.
Kamishov got so close to his teammate in the braking zone there. I thought they were going to go together, come together. Say again, sorry, Case.
Yeah, no problem. But if they would keep this positions like this right now, they would only be 11 points off each other.
Were you so weaving about in the straight there? The stewards might have something to say about that. But what's happened to Shkloven? Shkloven's made a mistake. He's dropped 6 seconds behind Kamishov there. Unfortunately, we were riding on board with Kamishov. Kamishov looking to his teammate, and Shkloven has dropped back 5 seconds. So who needs team orders? They have got quite the buffer now. No idea what happened, but looked like he just made a mistake in turn 1, turn 2, and has dropped back. Unfortunately, we missed it. He's got going okay. Pace seems to be okay. But for these two at the front, that Griffin 1-2 is just that little bit more likely. So this time around, again, DRS wide open for Kamishov. Ayuso, all he can do is try break the toe as he did before. Kamishov looks to the inside, tries to unsettle, gets so close again. Goes through turn 2, tiptoes, don't want to touch the sausage curbs, and back on the power, flat out through turn 3, through the curve de sol. DRS open again. Ivan weaving about strangely. I wonder if he was signalling his teammate to go through there, but obviously not. Shkloven, meanwhile, still 5.6 seconds behind, still lost that 5 seconds, not able to make it up just yet. Yeah, this battle between these two teammates, it's perfect. It's the perfect situation for the team championship, but you know, every driver wants the best for themselves. They want to show, you know, the driver they want to beat is the teammate. That's the first one to beat. It's the one you can have the direct comparison with, the same setup, the same communication with your team boss and Kamishov. Well, hopefully, and Kamishov is looking to show that he is the better, the faster driver here. Oh, a big snap of oversteer for Kamishov on the exit. Ayuso had a big snap of oversteer on entry, locking the rear brakes, but once again, DRS will be open for Kamishov. Not as close this time around. Ivan goes to break the slipstream again. Kamishov, similar line, looks to the inside, closes up in the braking zone, but then nothing he can do. Shkloven not losing any time behind. 10.5 Kamishov, 10.5 for Shkloven. So after that mistake, he's still as fast as he was before, but unfortunately that 5 seconds has cost him a little bit, and he won't have the DRS to pull him along. I think I actually want to say, Case, the undercut here might definitely come into play, especially between these two teammates separated by just this small time. They're both on the C3 tyres, and I'm sure they're both going to be on a very similar strategy.
Yeah, so from things that I've heard from a few drivers is that maybe the C2 tires aren't. Ooh, it's a bit of a rear slide from Ivan there. The C2 tires might not be the preferred second tire. At least what I heard from a few drivers, they may actually go the C1s, try to extend until maybe the end of the race, maybe until the last 10 laps or so.
It's definitely a factor, but we were saying he could undercut him. Who needs to undercut him? He's passed before he even gets to the DRS line. I don't know if Ivan just backed off a little there. He's run out of battery trying to defend from his teammate, but Kamishov up into the lead. Passed before the braking zone, goes wide at turn 1, but manages to hold on. Meanwhile, Ivan behind will have the DRS now. Will he be able to repass his teammate for the lead? Kamishov goes defensive. Ivan on the outside, brake 50 meters as late as you can. Flies around the outside of his teammate, and Ivan back into the lead after relinquishing it just for 2 corners there on lap 13 out of 47. Yeah, just before that action happened, yeah, very good point. I think it was Shiklovan just before the race we were talking. He was running the C1 tyre in practice. I think he's going to be doing the C3 to the C1. I'm not sure if the Griffin stable is going to be doing the same kind of thing. From what I've heard, obviously I drive for Griffin Gaming in the Master Split. That was not really a strategy that we considered. So I think these guys are going to be going on the C2. If Maxi's listening in and engineering his drivers here, he might have something to just advise his drivers. Yeah, these guys are going to be on the C2, so might have an impact on the end of the race. But you know, it's a chance I'm willing to take for the enjoyment here. Kamishov gets so close again through turn 1. He's so much later on the brakes than his teammate, but then, you know, there's a car in front of you. You're not able to do anything. Ivan breaking that toe time and time again. Really, I don't want to say his teammate's in his head here, but he's definitely aware of him. He's definitely actively defending, watching his mirrors every lap when, you know, maybe he should just be looking ahead, trying to build that gap instead of looking behind.
Yeah, and also another interesting thing I just noticed is that I think, at least as a current stance, if Kamishov and Ivan finish in P1/P2 and Sepin stays 4th, the Golf Racing Club will not be able to win second from the Teams Championship in terms of points.
That would be a good point. Yeah, they are quite far behind. I think it's about 50 points or so at the moment. Not an insurmountable thing. You can score around, I think it's 40 something points in a race if for maximum points for a 1-2 fastest lap. But yeah, it's unlikely. Unfortunately, there's only the one Golf car here on track. That is Cyprian Stoyan. And meanwhile, Griffin Red is 1-2. Younger GP is P3 and P6 with 2 cars. So it's not looking great for the Golf Racing Club, unfortunately. Griffin Red, meanwhile, perfect day out so far. Maximum points on the cards for sure. Again, look how close Kamishov is. Kamishov's definitely racing his teammate here. There's no team orders as of yet. He's definitely trying to push him, trying to get him to... Oh, it's Ivan. Huge snap of oversteer through turn 6. Holds onto the car, but Kamishov as well ran wide. Got onto the sausage curb. Manages to keep going okay, but both drivers in one corner almost lost the car. I wonder if these are... You know, they're both running the same car. They're both running probably the same setups. I wonder if that's that setup they've got with those C3 tyres. They're just hitting the cliff now, and they're going to be thinking about pitting. It's only lap 15 of 47, but you say people were considering the C1 over the C2. Maybe that's why. Maybe the C3s just don't last, and then you need to go on the hard tyres to take them that distance. Kamishov pits, yes. Oh, yeah. Kamishov in the pit lane, slows down nice and safe before the pit lane speed limiter, and Kamishov enters the pit lane, drops to P3, will probably drop further, but where will he come out? Shiklovan into P2, stays out for now. Ivan will now be pushing as hard as he can. I'm sure he's going to be pitting this lap. He doesn't want to get undercut by his teammate. All he would need would be one good lap, one clean lap on those new, going to presume C1 tyres after that early pit stop. What is he on? Oh, C2. So Kamishov on those C2s comes out the pits in P4. Nice clear track in front of him, so we'll be able to push as hard as he wants. But Ivan in the lead will also be pushing. He's going to want to dump his battery, use as much as his car, much of the tyres that are left as he can, because he does not want to get undercut by his teammate. comes into the final corner here. We can see a lap traffic in front already. I think that is Leslie Peters or Ignis Doxis. We saw them get involved in an incident. Will Ayuso pit or will he stay out? He will stay out. I am surprised by that. Maybe he just feels he has the grip. We'll have to watch the lap times. It's a 1:10.7 for Ayuso. Kamishov, obviously this is an outlap for him, but maybe you can see on the timing case what do Kamishov's set times look like on these new C2s?
From what I can see in the second sector, he is about 5 to 6 tenths slower.
Slower? That is definitely maybe a mistake by Kamishov here. So this is the lap to watch. This is his first lap on the C2s. You would have thought he would have been faster. Obviously the tires need to get up to temperature, but those C2 tires definitely have, these brand new C2 tires definitely have more grip than a set of 16. Well, you'd think they'd have more grip than a set of 16 lap old C3s. But if it's 5 tenths difference, Ivan might be safe here, might be able to complete the overcut. Ignis Dogs, he's made a mistake. Again, yellow flags out for him, slotted between Ivan, slotted between him and Chiklovan. He's got going okay, thankfully, won't cause any issues and is hopefully able to continue with his race nicely. But Kamishov coming through in the second sector. Ivan, meanwhile, stays out again, yeah. Well, Ivan certainly happy with these tyres. 10.89, Chiklovan 10.98. A bit of a mirrored final decimal point there. But yeah, both these drivers seemingly happy with their tyres, not worried that Kamishov has pitted onto those C2s, but what lap time will he do? He needs to be faster to make this undercut work. 1:10.1. So yeah, he is definitely faster as it stands. If Kamishov didn't mess up his pit stops, he will be coming out in front of his teammate, but then importantly, he'll have older tyres by the end of the race, and we saw how easy the drivers were racing, how easy they were overtaking each other before with similar pace, similar tyres. So he might get track position, but then might not be able to hold on for it till the end of the race. And I don't want to say this, but Kamishov, unfortunately, the past few races has made some real critical mistakes that has just dropped him out of the fight for the lead. Hopefully, he can have a clean one this time round, and will hold on to it, or at least put on a good show for us. Trying to hold on to it, we'll have to see.
Yeah, at least as it seems so far for now, in Sector 1 he is already about 3 tenths faster compared to Ivan, who is now finally pitting.
Yeah, so Ivan must have seen that lap time from Kamishov, seen that 10.1. Chiklovan comes into the pits as well, P2. So Chiklovan and Ayuso responding finally to Kamishov. Stoyan comes into the pits as well. So Kamishov, coming down the start-finish line here, will take the lead for now. Ivan still stationary in the pit stops. Kamishov going through turn 1. So Kamishov with that undercut. We said he was faster. You know, you saw that 10.1. Definitely faster. He's almost got 3 seconds on his teammate there. And Chiklovan actually closer than he was before. So Chiklovan gained time in that pit stops. Ivan lost time. And Ivan will have to be looking in his mirrors now to not Kamishov, but Chiklovan this time after the pit stops. Meanwhile, Kamishov 5.6 seconds there. So the ideal strategy, well, the ideal pit stop strategy at the moment for Kamishov, but he pitted 3 laps earlier, and by the end of the race he may regret that. And we talked about Chiklovan being on the C1s. He's not picked the C1s.
Yeah, no, rather interestingly, I think he's on another set of C3s.
Yeah, so Chiklovan, super aggressive here. Ooh, a big snap of oversteer into the last corner there, into the last real corner. He's on the C3s. He is obviously on the 2-stop. He started on the C3s. He's going to have to pit again. He must be doing C3. Oh, I don't know. I was going to say C3, C3, C2, but we could see C3, C3, C4.
Yeah, I think maybe around lap 38:40. 38:40. I think would be an ideal time to pit then for the second stop if he goes onto the C4.
It's really something to look out for. And then Ayuso in front. He's on the C2s. He's going to be looking in his mirrors here. Chiklovan's on the faster tyres. But critically for Chiklovan, yeah, he's within a second. But he needs to pit again. He needs to get in front of Ayuso and pull a gap. Because if he's not able to, he probably won't be able to make up the 20 seconds he loses in the pit stops. He is just within 8 tenths. You can see he's faster through here.
Yeah, the one another important thing is he must not wear these tires out too much at the beginning, otherwise they will have barely any life left for his second part of this stint.
Yeah, definitely. He needs to get in front of get in front of Ayuso, and then pull the gap while they're still faster, because those C2 tyres, they're slower at first, but as the C3s wear, the tables will turn, and he will end up being the slower of the pair. Obviously, when the tyres do wear out more, they are a softer compound. That's what happens. 10.5 for Ivan, 10.2 for Shkloven. So maybe not as fast as he needs to be. Kamishov on those C2s was doing a 10.1 first time around with more fuel in the car. We're 4 or 5 laps later than that. Shkloven only able to manage a 10.2 with DRS behind another car. So he really needs to get a move on, really needs to get past Ayuso there if he's going to make this 2-stop work.
Yeah, he's about 1.5 tenths faster in the first sector compared to Ivan, at least. Yeah, for now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference is going to be the Sector 2 where Kamishov is now. You can just see the amount of twisty right, left. You really work the tyres through here. It's 99% mechanical grip. Only kind of this corner needs that, needs the wings, needs the aero. But even the last corner here, it's a bit half and half, but leaning more on mechanical grip as nearly goes wide onto the curve there. We saw him do that in qualifying and lose the rear, but keeps going okay. Lap traffic in front. I think that is Leslie Peters. Could be wrong. Oh no, it's Carlos Skamanis actually. So it is Shkloven's teammate running P7 at the moment. A few people are yet to pit, I believe. I think Knowles is yet to pit. But yeah, Ivan 1099, Shkloven 1010.3. So Shkloven, he needs to make those C3s work. Not able to get them work. Ivan on the C2s is the faster car. Meanwhile, Stoyan behind as well. He pitted the same lap as Ivan, pitted the same lap as Shkloven. 111.1 for him. Kind of running in no man's land here. Next car behind is... Wow, the next car behind is 19 seconds, so Stoyan is really in no man's land here.
Ooh, as I think Leslie Peters has just retired.
Yeah, Leslie Peters in the pit lane. Out of the pit lane. That is him out of the race. All he needs to do is finish, but unfortunately he's got into an incident. He's retired from the race. No points for him. He needs to complete 80% distance. Meanwhile, Ignis Donkey's made another mistake out of the last corner. Just gets going again. Currently running P9. Will jump to P8 as he passes Leslie Peters. Well, as he passes what was Leslie Peters since he's retired from the race. Completes more distance. There you go. P8 for him. Okay, maybe not. We'll see it next time around, but he will be P8 by then, and will inherit that position, and if he gets to the end, will score full points for P8, of course. There we go, P8 now. Yeah, Shkloven just outside of DRS again, not able to get close enough to get that helping hand, get that drag reduction system to push him along. Ignis Donkey's moves off the track to let these two through. Nice to see, nice to receive drivers respecting blue flags, as we have seen before. Some drivers have different interpretations of what it means to get out of the way, but Ignis doing exactly what he should do there. Shkloven pushing very, very hard through Sector 2, nearly cutting the grass there, trying to minimise his distance travelled, but I don't really think it's working out for him. He's still a second behind Ayuso in front, where he should be closing on these soft C3 tyres. This 2-stop, I don't want to say it's maybe a bit early, we were only half distance, but it does not look like it has worked out for Shkloven here. 10.1 for Kamishov. Ayuso about to cross the line. 10 flat for him. 9.9 for Shkloven, so a little bit faster than the Griffin Red drivers in front, but not enough, and he needs to pass. He needs to build the gap for the 2-stop to work.
Yeah, and currently I've noticed, as it stands, at least in the team championship, if they finish as they do currently, Younger GP would actually miss out by the team championship if they finish 1 and 2 by 1 point.
Wow, so we can actually see, the teams championship decided here at Brazil. I wouldn't have thought to see it because the gap wasn't that big, but Shkloven sliding through turn 8 there, still putting the pressure on Ayuso, but not as much as he needs to. And yeah, it's quite important for the championship's sake here. He's already won the Drivers' Championship. Can he help his team win the Teams' Championship? But he needs
it's
to
going to be
pass these
important
two.
for Darian, at least, if he is going to go on that C4 stint later on in this race. What we would expect him to do, at least hopefully, is he is going to need to get that fastest lap point to at least maybe by the end of the season, if Griffin Gaming were to not score any points at all in the next race, and GP Junior will score first with fastest lap and second as well. Would be equal.
Yeah, so it's very, very close if he can keep the championship alive, but it might be, it's one thing to theoretically be able to win the championship, but yeah, both drivers need to not finish the race and you need to score the maximum points, so it's even more unlikely, but it's definitely never over. Don't rule anything out. We're only half distance here at Brazil, and anything can happen.
And excuse me, actually, I maybe miscalculated it. If Darian Siglovian if the grid finishes as it stands right now, and Darian will get the fastest lap, and by the next race, Junior GP will score maximum points, they will actually outscore Griffin Gaming Red by 2 points in the team championship.
Right on the limit. Just few points between these guys, and yeah, it's going to be critical for Griffin Red to hold these positions that they're in, because if one bad race, we've seen one of the Griffin Red cars DNF already, could be another, and then that would turn the championship on its head. Chikloven on those C3s, finally picking up fastest lap of the race for him, 9.7. Ivan in front, getting well within DRS, well within overtaking range here. Tries to break the slipstream as he did through his teammate, but this time Chikloven's the one in his mirrors. Chikloven is the one putting the pressure on, and he's on the softer tyres as well. Through turn 6 and turn 7, Ivan sliding around in front. We saw him do it with his teammate, we see him do it with Chikloven. It's almost identical. Just swap Kamishov out for Chikloven and swap the C3s out for the C2s. They're a bit different as there, so faster in different parts of the track. A thing to talk about, obviously, before it was two Griffin Red cars, probably running similar setups, similar aero setups. This time it's a younger GP car. What aero is Chikloven running? What are those cars doing in the speed traps? 9.6 for Kamishov. So Kamishov on those C2 tyres, no DRS for him, fastest lap of the race. Chikloven 10.3 that time around. So that fastest lap that allowed Chikloven to get up to Ivan, Kamishov's just smashed it with a C2 lap, with a lap on C2s, faster without the DRS. So Chikloven, he needs to pick up the pace unless he's banking on those Griffin Red cars in front. Maybe they have to pit again. Maybe the Griffin Red cars, yeah, they're on C2s. Maybe they're going to do a stint on C4s too. Yeah,
this final point is going to be very important though.
Yeah, that fastest lap, it could decide the championship this round. If Chikloven does not get past Ivan, if Chikloven does not get past Kamishov, which doesn't look likely, you'd have 6 seconds, 7 seconds he's going to have to close in. Kamishov would be able to pit on the C4s as well, and he'd be able to go for fastest lap himself. But that always comes with risks. You pit, you run the risk of penalties when you enter the pit lane. If you just overstep it slightly, you risk losing the car when you're pushing on those C4s, and you could put it in the wall and you could score 0 points. Actually, if that did happen on the final lap of the race, due to only having 8 runners at the moment, you could crash on the last lap of the race. You would actually finish P8, so you would actually get points for P8 if you crashed on the last lap. But that would not be ideal, and that's I'm sure they would rather score maximum points. Chikloven looks like he's made another mistake through turn 1. He's dropped out of DRS from Ayuso there. Now 1.7 seconds behind. Backs off through turn 4. I think Chikloven made another mistake, or maybe those C3 tyres that he is, trying to maximise that two-stop on, it's just not working. Kind of tiptoeing through sector 2 as well, so I wonder if he's just pushed those tyres a bit hard, obviously in the dirty air of Ayuso, pushing as hard as he can to try and catch up, try and get the pass done, and not able to, and now he's kind of dropping back as well. 2.2 seconds now separate these two as they get to the start-finish straight, as they get to where they will have the DRS, and it's just not enough so far for Chikloven. He's not going to be able to close in. Kamishov 10 flat again, so a great lap for him. Still setting some of the... Actually, yeah, Ivan there with a 9.9 as well. So Ivan turning up the wick. Chikloven, meanwhile, that was the 1:11. 2 seconds off. He needs to be going faster. As well for the Teams Championship, Carlos Skamanis, Chikloven's teammate, running P7 currently. Only 2 seconds up the road is Knowles, so he might be able to improve on this position, but then it's 30 seconds up the road from him to Ficini. He's going to have to be able to get through strategy, or maybe bank on another driver making a mistake. Chikloven is just closing within again, actually. 1.5 now for Ivan. And I was going to say Stoyan, actually. Stoyan is 26 seconds back from Chikloven, so those top three, they're kind of being the benchmark. They're the ones to beat here. Stoyan just not able to meet. Best of the rest at the moment. Yeah, again, as it was for Skamanis, unless the driver in front makes a mistake, that 26-second gap is maybe insurmountable. Kamshov with another 109. Ivan 110.3. Chikloven with another 109. So Chikloven, those tyres are clearly not done yet. He set another great lap, matching his previous personal best. He's gonna have to, 1.3 seconds. It's just he needs to be building the gap, not just catching him if he's on that 2-stop. The rest are on the 1-stop. Stoyan with a 1:11 flat. So Stoyan lap time's not too bad. I think he's just lost out on the first few laps of the race. We saw him running wide at turn 1. It was at turn 4 actually. He locked the brakes, went straight on just about where he's approaching now. Lost a few times doing that. Knowles further back has been passed by Skamanis. A quite an unusual spot. I wonder if Knowles made a mistake on the exit there. But Skamanis through into P6. It was only 2 seconds up the road, but now he's 36 seconds up the road to Ficini. And Skamanis driving for Younger GP. They need to score as much points as possible. Amorim is not here this weekend. And only 2 cars on track for Younger GP. There was 3 cars on track for Griffin Red. Now there is only 2 as Columba DNF'd. But Chikloven, another fastest lap of the race. So those C3 tyres are not worn out yet. We saw a big puff of smoke as he locks up into turn 1. But he's got back within DRS of Ayuso. Ayuso going to have to go defensive again just to break the slipstream. Chikloven getting closer, not close enough to make the move. But you can see there the apex speed of those C3 tyres were just that much higher. Allows him to close in nicely, but as has happened so many times, you can close in, but you have to slow down because there's a slow car in front of you. Whoa, looks to the inside, not able to make the pass. Just trying to unsettle Ayuso here. Nice and stable through turn 10, through the flat out turn 11, getting to the... I keep saying it's the last corner. It's not really the last corner, but it's the last real corner. It's the last corner where you have to think. These corners, back in the day, back maybe 30 years ago, these were real corners. They were very, very high speed, very punishing, no exit at all. Yeah, nowadays, easy flat out in these monstrous VRC Formula Alpha with the massive amounts of downforce, massive amounts of grip through the tyres they have. Gets right close to Ivan, not able to pass with the DRS down the start finish, but he will have DRS coming through Curva de Sol as close as he can. DRS is open. Ayuso will certainly go defensive again. Ayuso doesn't go defensive again. Chikloven down the inside into turn 4. Holds the car. Oh, Ayuso lost the rear through there. Loses the car. Keeps going, getting. But Chikloven goes through the inside of turn 4. And then Ayuso offline. Not, on those C2 tyres as well. Just that little bit less grip than Chikloven has. Loses the rear of the car. I think he avoided the barriers. I don't know if you got a contact warning for that case if you were keeping an eye out. But
yeah, I think I did, though luckily he did. At the end, his car was still at least pointing towards the right direction, which would just cost him more time.
Yeah, he held onto the car, which, doesn't give him too much damage, but yeah, the little tap of the front wing might give him a little bit less pace, and crucially, Chikloven got through into P2. Ivan is now in P3, 5 seconds behind. So Ivan is going to have to close that gap. Well, if he has to pit again. I don't think he does have to pit again. Imagine the Griffin Red cars going to the end of the race. Chikloven's on the 2-stop. But crucially for Chikloven, this is what he needed. He needed to get in front of Ivan, and then he needs to build that gap. Ivan with the front wing damage will suffer. And Shkloven, 5 seconds in front at the moment. He can maybe build that up, let's say 5, 6, 7 laps to go. Maybe he can build up that to a 10-second gap, and then he only has to close maybe 8 seconds in the final 8 laps. It sounds a lot, but when you're on those C4 tyres, these guys are on 20-lap-old C2s, that gap can come tumbling down so fast. The pressure, watching that gap could cause these guys in front to make a mistake as well.
Yeah, and it's also a way that now with that incident, it's also spiced up the team championship once more. As it stands currently, Younger GP Junior would get 231 points. Griffin Gaming were at 265. So that is basically about just a 34 points difference between the two teams now for the last race. If it stands like this, Darius Shkloven actually currently has the fastest lap by about 700ths of a second, 7100ths of a second. That's correct. The 109.615 on the C3 stint, maybe even faster if he does the C4s.
Yeah, so that fastest lap point is definitely valuable here in the team championship, and the fact Shkloven has now got into P2, and Skamanis as well into P6, so it was P3 and P7, it's now P2 and P6, but it's still a deficit to Griffin Red. Griffin Red's running P1, P3, and they have the lead of the championship as it stands by around 20 points, so some other thing needs to happen here, and if that's a mistake by Kamishov, as we've seen in the previous rounds, sorry to say, that could be disastrous for Griffin Red if it did end up with him DNFing from the race. But at the moment, an 8.5 second gap, he's been pretty dominant since the early laps of the race here, since that undercut, managing the gap okay so far. 13 laps remaining here at Brazil. And the pace is not dropping off either. Look at that, 10.1 for Kamishov. I think he did that on his first lap out on the C2s. He's now 20 laps in roughly on the C2s, and he's still setting a 10.1. Shkloven on the C3s are now starting to wear 10.2. Ivan on the C2s, 10.2 as well. So all drivers very, very similar pace, just the gaps on track are what they're going to have to fight with. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got quite a lot of gaps all across the field here. The closest battle is actually Skamanis and Knowles, but Skamanis pits, so scratch that. Skamanis comes into the pits with lap 35, 12 laps remaining here, and Skamanis, younger GP driver, pitting 12 laps to go. Maybe this is when Shkloven's looking to pit as well. Maybe we're going to see Shkloven pit in the next lap or so. They will match each other's strategies. We will have to see. Shkloven is just coming round the final real corner here, turn 12. Keeps the car nice and straight. Will he be coming in the pits? I'm just wondering how the C3s are wearing. He's on around lap 12, lap 13, I think, on these. Oh no, it'll be a lot more actually, won't it? You know what lap he pitted, Case?
I'm not sure, no. Let me see, actually. He
Wow.
did it 17 laps ago, so that was about lap 19, not 18.
That's a very long time as well. He's definitely getting to the pit window, but that lap time, I said, he did a 9.7 again, I think. Ivan behind, he's on the C2s, he should have more grip now. He was doing a 10.3, so Ivan is losing time on what should be the faster tyre. He is carrying damage he picked up after the collision with the wall when Shkloven overtook him though, so that could be factoring into it. Yeah, will we see Shkloven pit? Will we see him going onto those C4 tyres? He has to do something. He has to pit, because if he doesn't, he'll be disqualified for running the C3s twice. As one driver, maybe the one in the lead, he does actually manage the season. I think, I don't know what round it was, but he ran the C3s twice by accident, a mistake in the pit stops, and he ended up disqualified. He won the race and then got disqualified, handing the win to his teammate. But here's Shkloven coming into the pits, so he's not making that mistake. Shkloven will almost certainly be going on the C4s here. A very, very aggressive two-stop from Younger GP. Ivan Ayuso goes through, sets a 10.1 in the process, so still good lap times for the Griffin Red drivers on those C2 tyres. Clearly they're going to be one-stopping them, but there's still 10 laps to go. Shkloven on those C4s, which he is on, I think. Yeah, Shkloven on those C4s will now have 10 laps to catch Ivan and Kamishov. Quite unlikely he'll catch Kamishov. That's a 15-second gap to Ivan, and then another 13-second gap to Ivan's teammate Kamishov. But never say never. these C4 tyres will be rapid, and if those C2s for the Griffin Red drivers hit the cliff, they may end up in the wall. And, you know, in the wall you can lose a lot more than 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You could lose a lap, you could DNF from the race if you get enough damage, as we saw from Columba on lap 10, I think it was. So yeah, Chiklovin is going to be pushing. I'm sure the lap times are going to tumble here. We're going to see 108s in the race, I'm almost certain. But Kamishov pits too. So this is very, very smart. I was going to say, actually, I think this is very, very smart from Kamishov. Maybe splitting the strategies here. Kamishov had a very, very large pit window. He can pit with no problems. He'll probably be able to get back past his teammate into the lead. Yeah, maybe be able to get back past his teammate when he goes on the C4 tyres as well. They look like C3s. Yeah, they definitely are yellow wall C3s. But yeah, very smart here. I think this is probably the Griffin Red strategy. Split the strategies between these two drivers. Kamishov will hold on to P1. No pressure for him to hit that cliff. And Ivan, if he can just hold on that 14 seconds or so gap he has to Chiklovin on the last 10 laps of the race, he'll be able to keep that position and hopefully finish with a 1-2 for Griffin Red. I think we'll I think those team orders we didn't see earlier, I think they may come into effect here when Kamishov catches Ivan, which I'm sure he will do with those C3s. I think Ivan will quite gladly move out of the way. He doesn't want to be putting any extra wear on his tyres, or maybe he doesn't want to get in contact with his teammate and cost his team a 1-2, which could seal the team championship.
Yeah, I'm just calculating things out right now. So it's just very interesting to see how things will pan out by the last few laps of this race.
It's a 10.4 for Ivan, so he's not pitting unless he goes on the C4s next lap. I think Ivan will be going to the end. We saw him pit maybe 3 laps later than his teammate Kamishov, and he's decided to stay out this time. But Chiklovin, who went on those C4s, 109.2, so he is on a charge.
Yes, so basically speaking, in terms of championships, here I go again. As it stands right now, if the race finishes as it is, and by the next race, GP Junior will score first and second. Fastest lap is not important at the current stage. They will win the team's championship if Griffin Gaming Red does not do any races for. Does not race for the last race of the season by 4 points. And in terms of the Drivers' Championship, if it stands as it is right now, Sippenstein would still be second with 141 points, Dmitry Kamishov with 130 points, and Columba Griffith still with... I've labeled them first, excuse me.
Wow. 108.6 for Kamishov. Those C3 tyres, 108.9 for Chiklovin. Those C3 tyres faster than the C4. So these Griffin Red drivers on the hardest step of tyres on every stage of the race after the initial stint just seems to be working out for them. Kamishov sets the fastest lap of the race, and as you say, it's very important for the team championship. If Younger GP doesn't score that extra point, it can seal the championship already. Depending on where Skamanish finishes, of course. He's running P6 currently, but Knowles is just 4 seconds behind. 7 laps to go. Kamishov pushing very hard. Runs the grass there through turns 9, I think it was.
Right, I've recalculated my excuses. So, if it stands as it is right now, Dmitry Kamishov would have to become 4th or higher in the next race if Dmitry does not race in order to win P2 from him in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, the Drivers' Championship is something we have not really talked about. Chiklovin kind of ran away with it after the initial half of the season. Kamishov was fighting so hard for the championship, missed a few rounds, made a few mistakes, had a few DNFs, and it just put him out of the battle. He's currently running... Who's that in the wall? Oh, it's Ignas Doxis in the wall. I thought that might have been Kamishov there. Ignas Dox is out of the race. I'm probably pronouncing his name completely wrong. Apologies if I am, but Ignas is out of the race. He will score points. 80% distance has been completed for him, and yeah, quite a shame to see him retire, but you know, didn't do a bad job. That's points for him. That's all he probably wanted was to end that. I saw him make a few mistakes earlier on, and Yeah, P8 finish for him, even though we're only in lap 41 of 47. So yeah, Kamishov with those mistakes, he fell down the championship just, you know, midway through the season. Sad to see, because it did look like we're having a real great championship shaping up. And yeah, well, it's a battle for everything other than the first now, because Shiklovan, the champion, you know, running P3 at the moment, it doesn't matter where he finishes. He's got such the points buffer that no one else can surpass him. And Kamishov with another 108.9 there on those C3s. Shiklovan another 108.7, but it's just not enough. He needs to be going faster. Kamishov's pulling away. Ivan looks like he's managing the gap okay. 3 seconds to Kamishov and then another 6 seconds to Shiklovan. 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and I actually noticed that currently Dmitry Kamishov is actually holding the fastest lap, so it would still stay as it is. Dmitry Kamishov would need to get 4th in that order to win from Sipinstoin for 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. But it would mean that if they both, if he actually scores 5th in that race, they will be equal on points. So it's 4th or higher.
It's so close between these three, and then Stoyan, unfortunately for him, is 40 seconds back. Unless the one in front makes a mistake, I think he's going to have to kind of settle for 4th there. He was on no man's land, in no man's land earlier. He's still in no man's land on lap 43. Ivan 110 flat, Kamishov 108.9. Very, very surprisingly good lap times for Ayuso on those very old tyres. But there's the point. There's the point for Younger GP. The point that they need to keep the championship alive, I believe it is. 108.3 fastest lap. Although Skamanis is running P6 as well, so the championship is more than alive. I think even as the positions stand. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. You can see the gap just getting below 2 seconds there for Kamishov. Shiklovan, meanwhile, 5.6 seconds to Kamishov. He's not closing in on him, and he needs more laps by the looks of things to be able to close in on Ayuso as well. So he's, unless something changes, it looks like it's going to be a wobble for Ayuso. It looks like it's going to be P3 for Shiklovan. 4 laps to go. Those C3 tyres are quite clearly worn for Ayuso there. C2 tyres, sorry, but those C3 tyres on Kamishov, pitted roughly 10 laps from the end, responded to Shiklovan pitting. He's going to have so much more pace. You can see he's caught another second that lap. He's going to have DRS on the next straight, not this start-finish one, but after the Curva de Sol, he will have the DRS 1.5 seconds a lap faster than his teammate there. Oh, no, he spins! Kamishov 360 degrees, well, 180 degrees at turn 1 there in the Assetto S, just loses the rear of the car. Shiklovan licking his lips for P2. He was 5-6 seconds back. He's now just 1.7 seconds back. Kamishov closed so fast on his teammate, but that critical mistake there at turn 1 might have cost him the win. Ooh, as Kamishov is running so wide in front as well. Shiklovan's now within 1 second. He's going to have the DRS next time round. Next time they get to the start-finish straight, if he can just keep up through this middle sector.
Just needs to pray on those C4s to stay alive just for these last few laps then.
Yeah, Shiklovan running those C4s, they're definitely the faster tyre than the C3s at first, but the grip does drop off very quick. You can see the yellow wall tyres of Kamishov, the red wall tyres for Shiklovan, the softer compound, the C4 compound. What we've seen drivers qualifying on most of the season, it's working out for Shiklovan here in the race after Kamishov made that mistake. 0.7 seconds between these two cars as they exit the last corner. Shiklovan will have the DRS. Kamishov, nothing he can do but try and hold on, hope he can keep that position. He can on this straight, but will he be able to on the next one? These C4 tyres are going to have extra pace through this center S. Gets the better exit, Shiklovan. Kamishov is going to have to go defensive. He's so close already. Kamishov holds the outside line, just lets Shiklovan straight through. Maybe he hopes he can get past again, but Shiklovan into P2. Those C4 tyres working a treat after Kamishov made that mistake. And, you know, that one point was interesting for the team's championship, but Shiklovan is now in P2. He's now given that P2 up. Kamishov's given that P2 up, and Kamishov is so desperate, trying to get back past Shiklovan, looking to the outside, looking to the inside. He's got the grippier tyres, does Shiklovan, those C4 tyres, but they might drop off. There's only 2 laps remaining, but those C4 tyres will go off very quickly, and look how close Kamishov is. He's keeps it on the road through this last corner, gets a good exit. He's going to have the DRS and hopefully go back past for his sake, for Griffin Red's sake. No bias here at all. I love to see the battles on track. But here comes Kamishov, DRS open yet again. Shkloven looks to the inside. Kamishov not is able to get alongside round the outside. Turn 1. Kamishov leaves him room on the inside. Great battle between these two drivers. Kamishov outside of the curve de sol. Who gets the DRS? Kamishov gets the DRS on the outside coming down to turn 4. Who will be later on the brakes? Looks like Shkloven's able to hold on. Fantastic racing between these two drivers. So important for the team's championship and very, very impressive stuff from Shkloven. Now looking at that as well, Kamishov looked like he would have been able to pass there. He had the DRS but wasn't able to get in front, wasn't even able to get alongside really after the initial pull down the straight. And I would be saying that Younger GP is running lower aero here and that might save Shkloven, but you know, there's still another 2 laps to go. 1 lap to go even, I think. Where is Ivan on track? Has he crossed the finish line yet?
Ivan is crossing the finish line at once.
Now, so this is the final lap of the race to go. Kamishov's going to need that DRS to be able to get past Shkloven, and he's dropped back. I wonder if he's just ran out of battery. Look how far Shkloven's just pulled on Kamishov down the straight there. He was looking to make the overtake. I think this will be the last time he would have an attempt. This is the last dose of DRS he's going to get, and he's not even within DRS range. I think Kamishov's used the battery, used the tyres, used the fuel, and he's just had to back off. Shkloven makes the overtake for P2. Kamishov tries to get back at him, and then Shkloven just pulls away. Meanwhile, Ayuso, those two battling behind, maybe saved him. Kamishov made the mistake, dropped back, not able to overtake Ayuso, and then Shkloven, having to battle Kamishov, loses time as well. 4.1 seconds back from Ivan, and with only 3 corners to go, I doubt he's going to be able to overtake him. Ayuso comes through the final corner here, feathers the throttle as it switches to the camera I did not want. Ayuso, after a heartbreaking race last time out at Silverstone, losing the first position on the final lap, comes through the final corner to take his first win in Formula Trout League's Challenger Split in the Premier Series. Shkloven, with a real great drive, fantastic job for him, crosses the line in P2. Kamishov in P3, it will be pure disappointment for him. Just 5 laps ago he was fighting for the win, now he's lost P2 in P3, so P1 and P3 for Griffin Red. P2 and what looks like will be P6 for Skamanis. Chini's crossed the line in P5, Stoian still yet to finish. Kamishov's left the server already, left the race already, so clearly not happy with how that went down, not happy that he lost the lead. Stoian comes out the final corner to take P4. Great job for him, great result for him. Unfortunately not able to challenge the guys in the top 3, but still P4 is a fantastic result for Golf. Strengthens their P3. Skamanis coming out the final corner here. Look how close Knowles is, 0.9, but Skamanis holds on to P6 here. Crucial for the team's championship. Just keeps it alive a little longer for Younger GP, and Knowles in P7 as well. So Skamanis P6, Knowles P7. Donuts. Who is that? Donuts. Cyprian Stoian there. Donuts in turn 1, maybe a little dangerous, but I'm sure he's quite happy with that P4. Strengthens Golf's P3 in the championship. But Ayuso takes his first win of the season in a real fantastic race. Ran the 1-stop, everyone else, well, Shkloven and Kamishov on the 2-stop and was able to hold on till the end, so fantastic job there. I'm going to say now, he's definitely my driver of the day. What about you, Case?
Well, I think it's going to be either Darien or Ivan. I think, honestly, the strategy that Darien had at the C4, like we kind of expected, I think worked out really, really well. And, you know, obviously it being Ivan's first win, I think I've got to give it to Ivan.
Yeah, it was definitely close between those two drivers. I think Shkloven, just that middle stint, compromised him, wasn't able to get past Ivan in that middle stint on the C3s, compromised him for the race, and then has just dropped him back. But then heartbreak for Kamishov. Losing the potential for the win, losing P2 just in the final few laps of the race. Yeah, Ivan, fantastic job out there. We'll just see who we can get in for interviews.
In the meantime, in terms of strategy, so if Younger GP get first and second without fastest lap in the next race, they will lose out by 1 point to Griffin Gaming Red if they score 7th and 8th in the next race. If Younger GP do happen to get, Younger GP Junior, excuse me, do happen to get the point for the fastest lap, they will be equal in terms of the team's championship points. In terms of the driver standings, with 76 points. Dmitry Kamashov with 127, Sipin Stoin with 141. So that's only a 14-point gap between the two now.
Very, very close. And as this race showed, all drivers definitely still racing as hard as they were at the start of the season. Cannot wait for the next race. We have Darian Shkloven, E2 finisher, waiting for an interview. We'll just drag him in. Good evening, Darian. Great job out there finishing P2. Could have maybe had the win a few times, but that C3 stint in the middle of the race didn't really work out for you. But the C4s at the end did save you, did get you back into P2 after Kamashov made that mistake. How was that for you? You are muted if you're not aware.
Oh,
Hello.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was, well, it was fun, right? That's what matters. The race was enjoyable, and yeah, it wasn't easy, right? Like you win some, you lose some. Today I
Yeah.
did not win, but it was fun, and I got in some points as well. I finished where I qualified, and that is a win for me. But I think that if there were like maybe 1 or 2 more laps, definitely got on the win. I was just a bit too conservative on the first stint, in my opinion, and I think that's what got me to lose. I also made some mistakes. I lost the valuable seconds of DRS because of it.
Yeah, we
So,
were. Gone.
sorry, I was just trying to say that today was definitely not perfect, but obviously it wasn't perfect for anyone today.
No, yeah, everyone
most.
was making some mistakes. It was.
Yeah, tricky track this.
Yeah, it did look quite tricky to drive. Drivers, opposite lock all over the shop. But yeah, your middle stint, you were on the C3s, which we were very surprised to see. The two Griffin Red cars both went on the C2s. It looked like they were both going to do. Go on.
I still have no idea how they managed to keep up with me. Like, maybe I was on the wrong pressures. Who knows? But yeah, Ivan was pretty good at keeping up. I thought Ivan went. Ivan went C1, correct?
C2, I believe.
C2, and
Yeah,
he finished the
C3,
race with them?
C2.
What?
Yeah, he pitted a few laps
Man's
later than
insane.
you pitted the same lap as him. Kamashov pitted a few laps earlier and then covered you off in the pit stops, but unfortunately, when he was catching Ayuso, he was just like 5/10 behind. He locked the rear through turn one, and then obviously you were able to strike and get that P2 from him.
Yeah, definitely. If Kamishov wouldn't have made that mistake, I think he could have easily gone the second place.
Well, I think Kamashov, if he didn't make that mistake, Kamashov would have been into the lead. He was right behind his teammate on those C3 tyres. Ivan was on those very old C1 tyre, C2 tyres, sorry. So it did look like it was going to be an easy overtake. And yeah, he just locked the rear in turn one, dropped back, and then got within your clutches.
Close.
It was that close. He spun right behind him. And then by the looks of it as well, when you two were battling, he ran out of battery because he just dropped miles back on the straight. So I think he just ran out on the last lap or so.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic showing. Great fun to watch. Don't know if you have anything to ask, Case.
Case?
I don't think Case is there. But yeah, it was as I said, it was a great race. Next race out, the final race of the season, will be Japan. I don't know what you feel about Japan. I love it. It's always puts on a good show. So, curious what you think of it.
It's a really good. Like, I like the twisty part at the start. I think that's gonna be a challenge to master. And also there's that back straight where you can just go, and I think the DRS extends to a corner, so you can choose to either let off the DRS or take it through with
I
you.
don't think so. Here in Formula Trout, we usually just run the one DRS zone down the start-finish straight because it can be quite dangerous going through the corner with it open. So
That's true.
yeah, it's
But
always
in real life
put
they
on
do.
great races. I believe back in 2011 in Formula One they used to, but in Trout we've never really ran that just because of the danger. We don't want people flying off into the barriers at 300 kilometers an hour. So.
That would make for an interesting final race of the season, though. think about it, I mean, yeah.
Who can
No,
survive 130R with the GRS open? Yeah, but it's an interesting thought. We'll consider it for sure, but I doubt we'll see it this season.
definitely requires a very good setup.
Yeah, yeah,
Extreme.
definitely. But yeah, once again, great race. Good recovery back into P2 after dropping down in the initial start of the race, and yeah, thanks for putting on a great show.
Nope, thank you for letting me race in the league. It was really fun today, and as long as everyone put a good show, that's what matters, right? Like make the streams interesting, get people riled in.
Exactly, that is what we like to see here at Formula Trout. Thank you, Darian.
All right, well, see you at Masters.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, so Lou was the only one who wanted an interview here today. That was a pretty fantastic race. I really, really enjoyed watching that. I am sure Case did too, although I don't think he's here. Oh, hello,
yeah.
welcome back, Case.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. All I can say is I love micro USB. This thing's horrible. Yeah, I don't think I ever had anything to add really to that, including Darius' interview. Definitely, in terms of strategy, it was a really interesting one. I'm quite excited to see how things will fold out for the Master Split. But yeah, I think next round, like you said, the rest of 1-0 will be interesting. But it's going to be a really exciting round, not only for the drivers. Obviously, Team Championship, I haven't been talking about anything else really in the race today. But yeah, I think that's definitely going to be one of the most very interesting aspects. And also being Suzuka being the last round of the season as well. So quite a bit different to what we at least normally or usually have had here in the past 10 seasons of Formula 12 Premier Series.
For sure, yeah, and it is a conclusion of 10 seasons of Formula Trout Premier Series, so quite a celebration that we've got to 10 seasons here, not including some of the other Sprint Series races we've been Sprint Series seasons we've done before. And yeah, if anyone wants to take part for the final round here, just click the link in the description, the Discord invite link. We will be more than happy to have you come along. We'll give you pointers where you can race, how you can get in. Not only do we have the final race of the Premier Series coming up, we also have a new Sprint Series coming up featuring the Tartus. It is locked setups, which some of you will like very much. Much less setup work you have to do, much less practice. Everyone can join in, get involved, just say hello in the Discord server, and we will try do our best to get you into the race for 2 weeks' time, or in I think it's just a week for the Sprint Series as well. So yeah, anyone who wants to join, click the link in the description below, and we will see you in the server. But I was Alex Cochran, joined by Case Wilhelms. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.